Hey everyone, today in this video, I'm excited to be checking out the NARWAL Freo X Plus. NARWAL did send me the sample, but any opinion expressed in this video is strictly my own. That being said, if you're interested in this vacuum or you want to find out more about it, the link to it will be in the video description. Here's a look at the retail box and packaging. Everything looks great. Now, looking at the image, you might not know that this is a self-emptying vacuum, and it stores everything clog-free inside the vacuum itself. It's got a really cool and unique system. It's also the same system found on the NARWAL Freo X Ultra. I really have enjoyed using that vacuum. So same great tech on this vacuum, and they walk you through some additional features and spec that make this unit stand out compared to the competition that can be found on the back side and the other side of the box as well. Now let's go ahead, let's open it up and see what's inside. Here are all the contents. First up, we have our product literature consisting of a full user guide and manual in multiple languages, safety instructions, and we have how to use the disposable dust bag instruction guide right here. One for each disposable dust bag that's included. Next, you'll see the two included disposable dust bags right here that can last up to 7 weeks. So two of those, they're identical to each other. They also come with your dust bag guardian to keep things nice and fresh. Follow the instructions on the sheet. Then you'll notice we have 3 different mop pads right here. One's going to be reusable, 2 are going to be one-time use and disposable. Underneath everything that you see right here, we also have basically your drip mat and pad here to protect your floors. Then moving right along, you'll see our left and right side cleaning brushes, color-coded for us. Power cable as well as the charger. This is a really cool charger. It's definitely the coolest one we've ever seen. I just like everything about it. It's just so unique, and it's pretty massive, which I think is cool. I don't know. It's just different, and I really like it, and it feels heavy and super high quality for something that's pretty basic. And they really thought of everything here. Power cord plugs in on the side with built-in cord management and channels on the left and the right side so we can route it up and against our wall. A lot of grip feet at the bottom too. And then last but not least, the vacuum. Let's go ahead, let's look at that in more detail. Starting with the top of our NARWAL Freo X Plus, you'll see front and center the LiDAR navigation module, followed by a sticker at the top with our home and power button control options. NARWAL logo and branding further down, and built into the top of our bumper, it says designed by NARWAL, built with passion. Just a really cool little detail there. The top cover is magnetic and removable, so we can pop that up and out of the way. Very top reveals our removable internal water tank here, and we can open that up to easily refill as needed. Love the purple accent. We got a reset button, NARWAL branding again, QR code. Further down, we do have a reusable, or what you would call your typical dustbin and vacuum. So we have the disposable self-emptying route, or you have your spare dustbin, as they call it, that we can manually empty as needed. So just press that to release. You can empty and clean right there. We got our filter that we can remove as well. So we can just pop that right out to easily wash and clean as needed. We got that mesh screen right there too. We can keep that in place to trap larger debris in the dustbin. They have all of your care instructions here at the top for you to read and learn more. And on the inside, we have instructions for how to replace the disposable dust bag. So both options right there, really well thought out. And I love the magnetic cover that just snaps in place. Now looking at the side of the vacuum, we'll start with the front with our laser vision sensor and navigational bumper. We'll rotate it to the side. You can see the play and wiggle room there. We'll move along to the back, remove lid here sticker, charging contacts. We'll move around on this side of the bumper. We have another sensor there. And then we're back to the front. Looking at the underside of the vacuum, right here with the purple and orange, we have our left and right side cleaning brushes that just snap into place. So line them up and snap them in, just like so. We'll do that for the other side too here. And you can see those in action as they'll spin around and around on the vacuum. You'll notice a wide array of sensors. These are for ledges and cliffs, so it won't fall down. 2 spring-loaded drive wheels. Front and center, we have one of the best anti-hair tangling brushes. It's the same system we've already tested in the Freo X Ultra, and it does a fantastic job keeping hair tangles at bay. This unique single-sided design is the key here, and it angles everything down and out through the chute that vacuums up all of our household debris. Very easy to maintain as needed too. And then down here at the bottom we have our mopping pad and module with the NARWAL logo and branding with our purple, and we have our omnidirectional wheel. You'd be pleased to know that the whole mopping module comes out magnetically, so just gently pull it up and out of the way, and then we can remove the included mop pad here. It's on there nice and snug with a lot of Velcro. But we can pull that off, slide it out to wash, clean, and replace as needed. And then you can see underneath here where the 4 magnets go and where we have our water line coming in to wet the mop. So before use, really the only question you have to decide is which dustbin do I want to use? The included spare one or the included disposable dustbins that last up to 7 weeks. So if you want to install the disposable one, very simple and straightforward. You just line it up and gently press it in place. That's it. So it'll look just like that, and it just slides right down and in, and you're all set and ready to go. Enjoy your clean. Once it's full, go ahead, easily throw it out in your trash can and install a new one, or you can go back to the spare dustbin right there. It's really up to you which one you want to use. We just finished our first clean. Let's take a look at the results. We'll pop off the cover here. I'll show you the water tank first. So we have about half of the tank left. So that'll just vary depending on how large of a space you're cleaning and what water settings you have. Next, we'll look at the dustbin here. So we'll gently pop that open, and let's go look at all of the contents inside. I don't want to make a mess here, so we should be able to open it up this way. And look at that, we can see all the crumbs on the very bottom here, as well as all the hair underneath as we opened it upside down. So get a feel for what to expect around your house. Pet hair, human hair, crumbs, dirt, debris, food, all of the stuff you would find around your house. This is going to be able to vacuum it up, and it's always great to see that really fine dirt and dust trapped in the dustbin. You don't want that exhausting back out through the house, so that speaks to the filtration that's built into this, that it's actually vacuuming everything up, even those small particles, and trapping them right where they need to be. So pretty disgusting here. Get a good feel for all the human hair, pet hair. Got some stickers for my kids. All of that right there in our dustbin, and we still have plenty of room in here. It's a nice large size. And now flipping it over, let's look at the side brushes. We have your typical hair tangles and entrapments there, so just make sure that you're maintaining that every once in a while. Now for the main brush roller, again, this is the best roller we've ever used with hair, and you already probably forgot what we vacuumed up. All of that pet hair and human hair right there. Look at the roller. Typically, you would find your traditional roller would have a ton of hair entangled for that same clean. Nothing here at all. So that speaks to how successful and unique this design is. So if hairy households is your top priority and issue you're trying to tackle, this is going to be the vacuum for you. And then lastly, looking at the mop pad right here, we do have a lot of dirt on it, so just make sure after you finish cleaning, you'll want to maintain that by washing it and drying it and getting it nice and fresh and new again for your next clean. Really quickly, I wanted to give you a brief overview of the NARWAL app for the X Plus here. So this is what's going to look like when you enter in, and it's taking us to our main map and overview where we can control and adjust all of our cleaning preferences. Down at the bottom, we can do room or zone cleaning. We can choose to vacuum and mop, vacuum then mop, vacuum or mop, or set a custom clean. We can view our cleaning history. Very detailed map here with our floor types, our room names. All of that can be adjusted. We also have our settings icon that takes us to even more preferences that we can adjust. So really quickly, we'll just look at a couple of these. We'll start with the robot section here if you want to adjust area, time zone, things like that. If you ever need to restart it or reset your network, all of that can be found right there. Moving right along, we have our clean settings here. Choose the default cleaning mode. And I highly recommend turning on edge mode. Up to you though, so that's a great feature you'd want to have on. Basically, it'll wiggle and clean along the edges. Then we have our general settings. This is really cool. A lot of vacuums don't have a stairless mode feature, so I love that we have that option here. And I've never seen this before besides NARWAL devices, a high altitude mode. So some pretty clutch features right here you want to spend some time to look at and toggle on or off. That moisture proof pad that you can install with this base, depending on your floor type, you can let it know if it's installed or not, which is great. And then we got the auto dustbin bag bacterial control. So when turned on, basically it will be automatically air dried for any sort of bacteria. So pretty cool features I haven't seen on a lot of other RoboVacs, and we're getting close to trying out over 70 units. So that's definitely saying something here. So spend a minute in that general tab with your vacuum. Lastly, we'll look at the map editing option so you can see all the controls here, but you are able to set up no-go zones, so you can add particular areas where you don't want it to vacuum or vacuum and mop, all right there, drag and drop. And then lastly, for those interested, there are third-party app control settings down here for Siri, Alexa, or Google. So if you want to set those up, you're able to do that within the app. The NARWAL app overall, very simple, straightforward to navigate and find exactly what you're looking for. One question remains. How does the X Plus stack up against the competition? Well, let's find out. We'll be comparing it to over 60 plus robot vacuum cleaners that I've personally tested. First, we'll be looking at max suction power. This is measured in PAs. Typically with this value, the higher the better. You want to see a larger value here because usually, not always, but that is a good indicator to let us know how it's actually going to perform real world cleaning wise. So in this case, 7,800 PAs, fantastic suction power, almost 3,000 PAs above your typical average robot vac. Moving right along to max CFM, same thing here. The higher the value, usually the better real world clean that we get, but it's not always the case. We measure CFM in-house here. 9.5 is another very, very respectable score. You'll see it's almost 3 points above the average. And the data held true in this case. We got a 90 out of 100 on our carpet deep cleaning test where we embed coffee grounds in the carpet and we measure before and after results. That's 5 points above the typical average RoboVac at 85. Next, we're looking at decibels. The higher this value, the louder your vacuum will be. We always measure this on max suction settings on carpet with any sort of carpet boost or anything else that we can enable, set, and ready to go. So in this case, 72 decibels compared to your average of 70. That's a wash. There's going to be no distinguishable or noticeable difference from your average robot vac in regards to how loud it is while it's vacuuming. Moving right along, let's talk about battery life. This is measured in minutes, 210-minute runtime, very good battery life, compared to the average of 160 minutes. So you'll notice that we get an extra 50 minutes of runtime with this vacuum. And why we get such great runtime is due to the large battery capacity. Battery capacity is measured in milliamp hours. This has almost 1,500 milliamp hours greater than your typical average RoboVac. 5,200 is a great capacity to see. They usually don't go any higher at the moment. Only a couple models, top of the line, upper echelon of the best would have like a 6,400 milliamp hour battery capacity. 5,200 is super solid. Next, let's talk about height. Most LiDAR equipped vacuums will be a little bit taller than the average, and that holds true with the X Plus here as well. NARWAL's vacuums, again, they house the self-emptying everything inside here. So I'd say your typical LiDAR equipped vacuum might be like 4 inches. This has an extra 0.2 inches of thickness. Not bad at all considering how much space this is saving elsewhere around your house where you don't have to have that extra large station to self-empty. And next up we have our dustbin capacity measured in milliliters. We have an 800 milliliter dustbin capacity. That's super large. That's almost twice the average. So pretty impressive what they're able to cram into this unit dustbin wise, how they're able to compress everything and to really stretch out the form factor of the X Plus compared to the competition. And don't think we'd forget about water tank capacity. This is also measured in milliliters, 280 milliliter internal water tank for our X Plus. That's going to be above average. Now, typically you'll find that when you have a vacuum that supports the ability to refill, wash, clean, and dry on its own, they tend to have really small internal water tanks. For a vacuum like this that doesn't have all of those features, that stores the water on board, it would be expected to be closer to that average. So in this case, it's great to see still that we not only hit the average, we exceed it, which means you're making less trips to your sink to fill up the water tank. Moving right along, let's talk about mop lift height. This is measured in millimeters. So the higher this value, the further your mop pad will be lifted up into the vacuum. So it's going to make less and less contact with your carpets and rugs. Typically for this flat mopping pad and module, this is going to be one of the higher mop lift heights that we've seen. 9 millimeters is very impressive, just 1 millimeter shy of the average, but most of those units have the revolving spinning pads that appear to be easier to lift up for whatever reason, engineering wise, design wise, internally. So for this one, having that flat mop pad on the back that scrapes as it goes by, I'm impressed they could get it up that high. Next, let's talk about edge swing. This is a unique feature to NARWAL vacuums. We're seeing it trickle into a couple other competitors as well. Ecovacs, Dreamy, and Roborock have some sort of either similar design where they kind of spin out and they're able to extend the mop pad or the vacuum to clean corners or hard to reach areas or along your baseboards. Some even have physical arms, like the side cleaning brush spins out or the mop pad itself actually moves out on one side and back in. So NARWAL does have this feature, not super common on most of the other other vacuums out there, you tend to find it on upper end, high quality robot vacuums and mops. And last but not least, let's talk about cost. How much does the X Plus cost? Well, after looking at everything with all the features that we get and above average performance, you'd expect to pay above the typical average price point. But in this case, you'll actually save a couple $100s and get a better performing vacuum and mop. With that all out of the way, now let me share with you my final thoughts. This is what you need to know. The X Plus is going to excel in hair removal, specifically not getting any tangles on its main brush. It's the best main brush we've ever used or seen so far in the 60+ robot vacs that we've personally tested. So if you live in a hairy household with humans, pets, or both, this is going to be the vacuum for you. Or it's more advanced and more expensive brother, the X Ultra. So that's what you need to know with this vacuum. Think about hair and think about the main brush roller. But with that being said, there are some things I'd want to see improved with this vacuum in the future. It's hard to knock it for where it's currently at in regards to its performance and value and feature set that we get, but there's still room for improvement. NARWAL has spoiled me with their other vacuums and mops that wash, clean, and dry themselves, so I wish we had that feature here. But again, if we did, that would lead to a higher price point, and they do have the X Ultra, which offers that. So if that's what you desire, look no further there. Other than that, navigation would be probably the biggest thing I'd want to see improved or refined over time, specifically with how it avoids and senses objects and obstacles. So they might need to add some additional hardware in the future. That technology continues to get better and better. Maybe they can continue to optimize with firmware updates or things like that, but it's not going to be the best that we've seen in regards to handling cords, pet waste, any sort of small object on the floor. It's going to be pretty hit or miss for you depending on what is in your home environment. But again, it's a delicate balance of what do you want to pay for, where can you compromise to save money. So they're trying to find that balance here, and I think for a lot of you out there, that's going to be good enough.